Good morning, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Saturday morning weekly setup. My name is Bailey Grady, and I will be your on camera facilitator today. I saw lots of chatter in the chat about weather and things. I am dialing in from Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is just north of the Nashville area. We are on day like 4 of potential severe weather out this way. We've kind of been caught in the um, portions of this system or whatever that's rolling through. So it has been a journey. I'm very tired. We had a night where we had tornado warnings for, I think, like 3.5 hours straight. And I do have storm anxiety. So it's been super fun. But thankfully, we've been super lucky in our area. So far, we haven't had any severe weather actually like touch down. Just lots of wind, lots of hail, and unfortunately, lots of rain, which we are now keeping an eye on because Nashville had a major flood back in 2010. So anytime they start talking about a lot of water and rain, we all get a little anxious around here. But I think it's all supposed to be over today. So we got one more day to make it through. So we hope that we all have good results tomorrow and we can relax a little bit and maybe enjoy some springtime. So I know some of you all are dealing with the same weather system. Be safe, stay connected, be aware. And yeah, just take care of yourself and do what you need to do to take care of you. I personally find having our little safe space set up and ready to go with blankets and snacks and cat beds and all the things helps me, just to try to make sure that it's ready to go, right? Like scared, not prepared. I saw Dawn asked what weather app I use. So I actually have one of the NOAA like weather radios, and that's what we use for like our alerts and things. We tend to get bad weather in the middle of the night here, so didn't want to try to fool with all the apps and things to try to wake me up. We just got one of those little radios. I think it was like $30 on Amazon, so it wasn't that expensive. And it will wake you up, let me tell you. You might wake up with a heart attack because it's so loud, but it will absolutely wake you up. And then we have an amazing local weather team here in the Nashville area, Nashville Severe Weather. They actually do like internships with Mississippi State, and they are amazing to follow if you're in this area at all. So thankful for them. So if you have some crazy weather coming through, make sure that you are staying safe, stay connected, stay aware, prepared, not scared, right? And for those of you that are just getting to enjoy a nice, chill Saturday, maybe you've got some nice weather, or maybe it's just rain, but nothing scary. I am happy for you as well. Sometimes it's nice to have a cozy, cloudy weekend, especially when you're going to sit and spend some time with your journal, which is what we're going to do here today. So for those of you that maybe haven't been here in a while, or maybe this is your first time, feel free to give us a little shout in the chat. You can be like, hey, that's me, I'm new, or hey, I haven't been here in a while. I know, I think it was Debbie said that this is her first time being with us in like over a year, so welcome back, Debbie. But I also see lots of very familiar names in the chat, so whether you are a returning socialer or this is one of your first ones, we're super excited to have you here and be able to spend this time together in community. One note, or a few notes, I guess I should say, before we get started. Make sure that your chat is set to everyone. A lot of the times Zoom will default it. The little box next to where you type will say host and panelist. And if it says host and panelist, it will only go to myself and the wonderful Maya, who is also here with me today. She is helping out in the chat. So be sure to say hi to her. And we don't mind if you just want to tell us something, that's totally fine. But most of the time, people want to share with the whole group. So make sure that you have that set to everyone so that you can share with everyone. And then the other thing that I will say is as we go through, feel free to take screenshots or snap photos. We would also love to see photos of your journal once you get it done, if you feel comfortable sharing that in Sonder Club. We always love to see what you all do. But as we go through, we'll have lots of different examples and things on the screen. This session is also being recorded, and we will share a link at the end where you can find this along with all of our other social recordings. So if you ever miss something, join late, have to leave early, anything like that, you can always go back to that recording and check out what you missed. So we're going to go ahead and go through our community guidelines real quick. Excuse me. First and foremost, be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. I think we all get enough of that in our daily lives. We're going to respect everyone's privacy here, and that includes respecting everybody's own personal journey, right? Like what I might be working on might look different from what you might be working on, or how I tackle something might be different from how somebody else tackles something. So we're all here to support one another in whatever works best for us, which also means no hate speech or bullying. And then we're going to try to limit repetitive product and accessory questions. If you want to talk about like favorite stickers or pens and things, like we're here for that, especially in a weekly setup. It kind of like makes sense, but we do want to make the most of the time that we have together here. And then if there's anything that myself and Maya cannot assist with, because we do not work at headquarters, so we do not have access to like your subscription info or your shipping address or anything like that, we'll direct you over to hello@silkandsonder.com, the team over there at HQ. They are like small but mighty Monday through Friday team, so give them a few days to get back to you. But if there's something they need to help you with, they'll be glad to do so. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. That's why we're all here together. But you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if something comes up today and you're feeling what I like to call the crunchy feeling, right? Make sure that you're checking in with yourself and ask yourself, like, ooh, is this like bringing something up I haven't thought about before? And like, I'm kind of ready to dig in and I feel kind of like, inspired by this new like aha moment and like I'm ready for this? Or is it like crunchy, like stepping on a Lego and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this today. Turn around, go back, hop around, right? Hopefully, maybe there are some people that don't know what it's like to step on a Lego, but I have definitely done that before and it does not feel great. So if your crunchy feeling starts to feel more like stepping on a Lego, take a breath, take a break, come back to it later. Just because we're going over something today, right now, in this moment, does not mean you have to also go over it right now in this moment. You can always come back to it later or not at all if it's not the right time. We trust you to empower yourself and do whatever is right for you today. So we are going to do our authenticity mind map. If you are new, our mind maps are an activity that are exclusive to our weekly socials. We have a different journal prompt each week that focuses in on our theme of the month, and that month, this month, that theme is authenticity. So we'll be doing that together shortly. Then we'll do a rosebud reflection on last week before we start setting up our weekly pages for next week. So let's get started. So, as I mentioned, our theme this month is authenticity. This is a big, big theme. Authenticity is huge. I think that authenticity might be one of the most important things that we can strive for in our lives, because I think that when you are being authentic, everything else sort of like aligns. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into our mind map, but there are some good quotes up on the screen here. Two of them are from Brene Brown because she has done a ton of research and work in this area of authenticity. So if you start looking up authenticity quotes, inevitably you're going to find quotes from Brene out there. But I also found this little like graphic that said authenticity is magnetic, fake is exhausting. And I would adjust that a little bit to say authenticity is magnetic, masking is exhausting. And the reason that I would plug that in there rather than being fake is that I think saying fake implies that like you're trying to be inauthentic. It's almost like being fake is exhausting. Don't be fake. And like, I think that most people want to be their authentic selves. I think that everybody wants to show up as they are into different places and spaces, but for a variety of reasons, we don't always feel like we can. Sometimes we know that we're interacting with people that have already made it clear that they're not interested in accepting us for who we are as people. And sometimes they're like family members or long-term friends, right? And it's kind of those messy, complicated relationship type things, right? But also like just certain social situations, like it's not always, appropriate to like maybe show up with my like Mickey ears on, it just kind of depends and you have to feel it out. But I think in a perfect world, we would like to all be around people and places and spaces that allow us to be our most authentic self. And so sometimes we can't do that because we don't feel safe or we know that we're not in a place where that's possible. But I wouldn't say that we're being fake when we're doing that. I would say that we're masking because that's what the moment calls for, right? At the same time, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about this soon. I think we should strive to put ourselves in spaces and places where we can be our most appropriate selves whenever possible. And I think that, at least for me, the longer I'm here on this earth, the more I value my time. And I really think time is the most precious thing we have, right? It's the one thing that like you just can't make any more of. And so if you have a choice to be in time and space with people, places, and things that fill up your cup, that light up your life, they're your people, your activities, your hobbies, like if you can choose that more, you should do it. You should absolutely do that as much as you can and try to say no to those things that put you in places and spaces where you don't feel comfortable to be your most authentic self. Because again, time is the one thing that we just can't make any more of. So that is my little intro into authenticity, but I definitely want to dive into our mind map and keep talking about that a little bit more. So go ahead and find a blank page in your journal. It could be the weekly scratch pad, just a blank journal page. It could even be like a thoughts journal or a secondary journal, or even just a notepad that you like writing in, whatever floats your boat. I always just use the very last page in my journal because then it's easy to flip to. But this month, like I said, we are going to explore the concept of authenticity in our lives. And this week, we are looking at connections. How appropriate for our community here together, right? So, we're going to ask you to recall a time when you felt deeply connected with someone. What aspects of that interaction felt authentic to you? How can you show up more authentically in your relationships? Consider any fears or barriers you might need to overcome. And I want to be clear that relationships here is all relationships, not just romantic. It can be friendships, it can be family, it could be community members, it could even be like workplace people that maybe you're like close to. I worked at a place one time and they had like relationship levels at work. It was like, oh, you're at a level 1, a level 2, whatever. So if you work someplace that uses that, these are your like level 3, level 4 like relationship people at work, right? If you do volunteer work, this could be relationships with your kids. If you do like have pets too, like that's a relationship as well. Even though like our doggies and kitties and whatever other fun furry or not furry critters that you have, even though they can't speak English and talk to us, like it takes time to build connections with our animals and understand them and build trust, right? So this could be any sort of connection in your life. So I've got another little quote again from our friend Brene over here on the left, where she says, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. And then we also have this fun little graphic over to the right-hand side that are like, they called them 11 tips. I would say like 11 clues maybe, to help you identify when you might be connecting with somebody. But what I decided to write about, and the prompt is still there on the top left side if you need it, but I will hop back, don't worry. What I said is thinking back on the times when I felt deeply connected, there almost always have an example of shared vulnerability. Um, and it's kind of like a give and take of opening up and of honesty. Vulnerability is hard, but it's also one of the most beautiful things we can do with one another. And most times my vulnerability has been rewarded. And when it hasn't, I received a lesson or information instead. Knowing somebody isn't one of my people or my tribe or whatever you want to call it is also super helpful. And I think it's natural to fear rejection or judgment, but so long as I do not feel my safety is at risk, I think I should open up more and allow whatever happens to happen to better align the people in my life so that I have more room for those who are my people. So that's what I wrote about personally. I'm going to give you all some time to think about this prompt and write about things that are coming up for you. And I'll hop back and forth between these slides for you. If you feel comfortable sharing in the chat what is coming up for you, we would love to hear it. And then we'll come back together. I just want to say that I'm so proud of all of you. Thinking about being authentic in relationships can be hard. And for those of you that are, chiming in, and there's several of you that are saying, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a ton of super authentic or deep connections now. It's been a while since I've had one. Like, I get you. I hear you. I was feeling like very lost and like disconnected, like about this time last year. And I ended up having to do like a leadership workshop thing for work. And I went away for 2 weeks and met a bunch of strangers. And it was like people I thought I'd never see again. Right. So I was just totally myself. And you know what happened is that we all really clicked and got along. And that experience like really did something for me where I kind of realized that like just because the connections that I used to have are not aligned with me anymore, and just because my authentic self doesn't connect with those people like they used to, doesn't mean that I'm never going to find my people or that I'm never going to connect again. It just might take me a while to find them. But like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not enough. You are 100% enough. You are worthy exactly as you are. You deserve to have genuine, authentic connections. And you're going to find them and they're going to find you. So don't give up. Keep doing what you can to put yourself out there and be the best you can be and share with others because your people are coming. They're out there. They're probably just like you. And they're also like wondering, where's my tribe? Where are my people? And like, they just haven't been able to find you yet. So, um, just stick with it. Keep focusing on you. Keep being as authentically you as you can. And I think the right people will gravitate towards you in the end. So that's my little story. I hope that it helps those of you that are in that space. But just know that like connections are so complicated, and I think it's normal for them to get messy. And we never know like what kind of journey life is going to put us on. Sometimes you lose connections with people for like decades, and then you reconnect and you both are totally different people and suddenly you reconnect. Like you just never know what your story is going to turn out as. But as long as you're you and you are true to yourself, I think it'll all work out in the long run. So thank you all so much for sharing. We are now going to move into our rosebud thorn exercise. So kind of reflecting on the last 7 days before we move into our weekly setup ahead. And this is going to be on page 30 in your journal if you want to do it there, but you can really do a rosebud thorn exercise at any time. So a rose is something that maybe went well, a highlight, something that made you smile, something you're thankful for from last week. A bud is what could bloom, so something around the corner, on the horizon. I like to think of a bud as something that you could be excited about, but also maybe something you're uncertain about or nervous, right? You don't really know how it's gonna like shake out. And then a thorn, something that maybe didn't go to well, something that brought up those crunchy feelings we talked about, right? Something that was tough that you could use some support with. So also apologies if you hear meowing. I have a a little kitty baby here that's trying to say hello to you all. Um, but I like to do these in reverse when I do mine. So for my thorn, just the stress from the storms this last week, it's been a lot. Especially as somebody with storm anxiety. I really, really, really like my vision board right now is just like a house with a basement, you know? Like I really want a basement to try to run away from these crazy storms and tornadoes that we just seem to get all the time here in Tennessee. So that is my thorn. And then my bud is that, oh, here he is. Say hello, Groot. Say hi to everybody. My best friend's little girl, it's her youngest, Eliza. She is turning 7 tomorrow, and I can't believe it. Like, these kids are, I don't, I would adopt them in a heartbeat. They're some of my favorite humans, and like, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about her aging. I used to like not understand that when people would get emotional about kids aging. I was always like, that's what they're supposed to do, right? Is like get older. Like that's kids grow, they get older. And like I am so attached to her kids that I'm just like now I'm crying over her kids getting older. It's crazy. But it's also magical. So I'm excited for her birthday tomorrow. And then my rose is that I took a personal day off work after the first wave of storms, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that. I didn't try to force my way into the office or try to like see if I could be at my best when I know that I couldn't. I was like, nope, you know what? I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. We've got more weather today. Like, I need to be at home. And I just took the day. And so I'm really thankful that one, I'm able to do that because not everybody is able to take a day off like that when they need to. But also that I actually felt like I could and was empowered to make that decision. So that is my rosebud and thorn. I'm going to put on some music for you all to think about your roses, buds, and thorns. Please share in the chat if you feel comfortable. I absolutely love doing this exercise together. I think it really gives us an insight into kind of what's going on in each other's little worlds. So thank you all for sharing. If you are still typing out your rosebud thorn, please continue to do so. Like I said, I love seeing all the different things that this brings up. It just gives us a glimpse into what's going on in our different little corners of the world. And if you come to socials regularly with us, I do feel like we get to know each other in this like hour that we spend together every week, and we kind of get an idea of what's going on. And it's very rare that somebody shares something tough that somebody else hasn't experienced in some way, even if it is maybe a little bit different. And we all love to celebrate each other with those like different roses and milestones and just general happy things. So thank you all for sharing. Please continue to do so. We're going to go ahead and hop on over into our main event, which is our weekly setup. And let me flip to my tab here. We are on page 32 and 33 today. So we're going to start on page 32 in the top right corner with how I want to feel. Now, my word of the year this year is serenity. And so I like to incorporate my word of the year into this section of the journal because it kind of keeps it like front of mind. Because usually about this time of the year is when I start to forget and kind of lose sight of like why I picked my word of the year. And my little ADD brain is like, no, look over here. And, forgets why we like grounded ourselves over in this area. So it helps me to kind of bring it front and center every week. So I try to not forget what I had as an overall intention for myself this year. So this week I want to welcome in serenity by putting my goals first. I think that the different like goals and like daily habits and things that I've like set for myself are really well aligned with what I want, and I just need to do a little bit better job of like prioritizing them. So that's what I want to call in this week, but there's a bunch of really good feelings over there on the left that might inspire you. And then we also have some of these awesome examples from Sonder Club that might bring about some inspiration as well. And you can see that there is no right or wrong way to do anything here. Um, Use stickers, use a quote, use multiple words, whatever floats your boat. It's you and your journal and nothing else. There is no right or wrong way to do this. So definitely feel free to express yourself in whatever way it makes sense. I will hop back and forth between these slides here, and then we will move into our next section. If you didn't land on a feeling just yet, that's okay. Sometimes this is actually the last thing I complete in my journal. I can't really wrap my head around how I want to feel or what I want to call in until I understand what's going on with my week. So if that's you, no worries. You can always come back to it. But we are going to hop down to the middle of our page here with our weekly to-dos and major 3 goals. So I utilize our personalized coaching platform, and one of the things that that comes with is a set of 3 affirmations, and I get it delivered to me weekly. And it's perfect because it helps me do my weekly setup very quickly. I used to do like actual like goals in this section, but I found that like I would write something in every week, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't really feel connected to it. So it is much more authentic for me to write 3 weekly affirmations in this space. And since the coaching platform delivers that to me, it works out great. So I have my 3 weekly affirmations in my weekly major 3. And then in my to-dos, I write out like my actual appointments and things that I have going on for the week. And then I do kind of come up with 3 sort of like to-dos, or like I would call them more like intentions that sort of go along with the like weekly affirmations. So like for example, my third little weekly affirmation there says, I honor and nurture my relationship, creating cherished moments that deepen our connection and joy. And I plan to go to trivia night again this week with my husband. That'll be fun for us to do. So that's kind of the to-do that goes along with that affirmation. But here you have some other examples of how some folks decide to pair these sections together. You may have like a to-do that supports a goal. I really like the format where somebody kind of like creates 3 categories, and then they have like the 3 to-dos and the little bingo boxes that sort of support those 3 categories. I think one day, someday, I might try that. You never know. Sometimes it takes me a couple of years to decide I want to switch it up. And again, as a reminder, I'll go back through all of these, so don't panic if I move away from your favorite slide. But you do not have to combine these 2 sections. You can keep them completely separate. You can also change them up. Like some people like to do their to-dos actually on the other page, like in a totally different spot rather than put them over here. Again, it's your journal and it's just you and those pages. So whatever makes the most sense to you and works for your life, that's what you need to do. These are all just kind of like, think of it like a menu, right? Like these are options at the restaurant, but you can always talk to the chef and order something special, right? If you have a super busy week ahead, you might want to use the Eisenhower decision matrix there in the top left to kind of see if you can pare down that to-do list a little bit. The Pomodoro technique there in the top center is amazing. If, like me, you have trouble getting things done just because you have trouble getting started on them, you can take a different sort of look at things and do like a need, want, hope list, or do to-dos, which is where you write things down as you get them done instead of to-dos. So then at the end of the week, you're like, oh, look at all these things I did, instead of like, oh my gosh, look at everything I have to do. Just like a little bit of a different mindset there, and it works really well for some folks. We love a bingo, so anytime you want to bingo-tize anything, we are very here for that. I also love the embrace and release example, sort of here in the bottom leftish, and do's and don'ts. And when in doubt, stickers, doodles, and quotes are always welcome. You could decide to do different areas of focus in your goals. We've already seen that in examples a couple times where we kind of pick like an overall category to focus on. You can support that how I want to feel that you just completed at the top. Like if you want to feel grounded, what are some activities that you can do this week to support that feeling? Is it getting outside? Is it doing breath work? Is it reading? Is it meditating? Is it snuggling your fur babies, right? Like whatever grounds you in, maybe those can be your to-dos and your major 3 goals this week. And then you can do actual goals, commitments, accountability, maybe check back in with some of your intentions and weekly habits, see how those are going, see if anything needs a little bit more attention there. And then there are some great ideas here over to the left, or sorry, to the right, of different ways you might repurpose this if you want to. You could do something fun like movies and TV shows, a self-care jar, again, quotes, song lyrics, or just whatever floats your boat. You also could just leave it blank if it doesn't speak to you. Just because there is a section in the journal does not mean you have to fill it in if a purpose does not immediately reveal itself to you. So I will hop back through all of these different slides for you all. Share in the chat what you're writing down, if you're doing something different, if you're getting creative, or if you're just doing the same thing you've always done. You never know who might need to hear that for inspiration. And then we'll move into our next section. Okay, we are going to hop down to the bottom center of our page here in the habit and activity section, or as some of you like to call them, habities. I just like 2 weeks ago decided to start doing a stress check-in here. Something that I'm working on is just trying to be aware of like my stress a little bit more and try to pay attention to like the physical indicators that let me know that I'm stressed. I have a very high stress tolerance. My therapist has a fancier word for it, but I can't remember what it is. But basically, like, usually by the time I realize that I'm stressed, I'm like very stressed. It's like, it's bad. So a lot of the times it's like they're building in the background and I don't realize it's happening. So I'm trying to do like a daily check-in and just kind of check on some different things to see if I can like build that mind body connection a little bit and become a little bit more aware of when I'm getting stressed before it like snowballs and gets crazy. There are all kinds of things you can do with this section. If you just want to focus on that major like monthly habit wheel and you don't want to use this section, that's okay. If that major monthly habit wheel does not work for you and you need flexibility, this is a great place to track habits because you can literally switch it up every single week and you can just ignore that wheel in the front of the journal if this works better for you. You can also do a combination, like if you've got maybe a habit in the monthly wheel that's going really well that you want to see if you can stretch, like maybe you were gonna drink like 50 ounces of water a day and you're like acing that no problem. So now you want to shoot for 75, but you want to maybe just do it in the weekly to see how it goes. Likewise, maybe you set a goal too high for that like monthly habit tracker. Maybe you thought you were going to walk 10,000 steps a day, but the weather's been gross and you haven't been able to get outside. And so maybe now you want to try to do that just a few times a week, right? And be a little bit more cooperative with our springtime weather, right? You also can lean into like the habits section of the, or sorry, the activities section of this. Like it is springtime, so maybe there's different things you like to do in spring. I know like we have a lot of local restaurants here that we're very fortunate to have that like to kind of change up their menus seasonally, especially our coffee shops and things. So I always like to go out and get those like floral lattes and things like that when they start to make an appearance. You can fill in every line here, just a few, whatever it is that you need. You can use it to try to build a specific routine. You could also use it to habit break, right? If you've got like a bad habit that you're trying to kick, you could use this as a spot to try to track how often you're doing it or not doing it to kind of give you some encouragement. And then there are some other good examples here, like you could do a daily self check-in. We've got from the Silk and Sonder Instagram, some easy self-care habits for mindfulness, and then some other examples. So I will throw on another quick little song for you all, and then we'll move in to our next page. Okay, we're flipping over to page 33 now, and we are looking at the section titled Meal Plan. Now, this section gets repurposed a lot, not because having a meal plan is a bad thing. It can be a very good thing depending on what you're trying to focus on and what your goals are. But it just takes up a lot of real estate in the journal, and the format of it is so good for so many different things. So sometimes people use something different for like their meal planning or their dinner tracking or whatever it is that they do in that arena of things. And then they use this for something else. And I am no exception. I use this for my work meetings. And then Saturday and Sunday, I typically don't have to work. And so I have switched this up a few different ways. I put in some things from the personalized coaching here before. This week, I decided to just kind of do a little reminder to myself to just take things one step at a time, and try to make time for things that support my affirmations and my intentions and don't give time to things that don't serve me, to kind of just reground and align with what I did on the other pages. But here are a list of ways that you could repurpose this section along with some examples. You can see somebody here is using it as a meal plan or a meal tracker, but lots of folks do like to use it for a variety of things. And then we have some more great examples here. Excuse me. Like I said, some people like to put their to-dos over here, and then they use the to-do section for something else because you've got that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Some people use it for like family scheduling, whatever makes sense to you. The more that you can make this journal your own, the more it is going to help you in all of your aspirations. So I'll put on another quick song for us, and then we'll move into our other sections. Okay, we are now going to hop on over to the right side of our page, looking at the Mind Body Health Plan and Shopping List section. Now, a lot of folks kind of use these interchangeably. Some people have started using these together. I decided to change my Mind Body Health Plan to Mind Body Health Possibilities, and I just kind of list out some things that I can maybe reach into, almost like a self-care jar throughout the week. Changing it from plan to possibilities just kind of like remove the pressure of that section for me. And so that is working. So I'm going to continue to do that. And then I use my shopping list as an actual shopping list, not because I'm going to buy that stuff this week, but because I need to buy it at some point. And if I don't write it down, I'll forget. And because I know that I'll forget, a lot of the times I have a tendency to impulse buy things because I'm afraid that I'll forget to buy it later. So having this section to actually just jot down those things that I don't need to buy today, but I don't want to forget about is really helpful for me. And then I also put like a running to-do list underneath that shopping section. And it's kind of the same thing. Like I am not going to be doing my flower beds and mulch and trimming my bushes and cleaning the gutter and all of these things this week. But if I lose sight of all of these sort of larger to-dos, I will forget about them altogether. Tanya and Everything shower is like where you are like exfoliating and shaving all the things and like doing the deep conditioner and all the things in the shower. It's that shower that's like an hour and a half and you use up all the hot water and everything, that I probably only actually have time for like once every few weeks, right? So here are some more examples for this section. If you are going to actually use the Mind Body Health Plan like a plan, please make sure that you are carving out some time for rest. It is arguably the most important thing you can do for your self-care. And if you weren't aware, there are actually 7 types of rest. So if you feel like you're getting a lot of physical rest lately, but you still feel tired, maybe check in with this section here in the top right, because you might be needing a different kind of rest depending on where you've been spending your energy lately. We also have some more examples here. You can do the I feel I need T chart. We love a bingo, a general kind of like checking in with yourself. And I like the current tools in the top right there with like books and apps and podcasts that they can kind of turn to kind of mood boost themselves. And then we have all these other examples and a whole list in the center there of different ways that you might decide to utilize this section. I know lots of folks enjoy the wardrobe planning section, especially if they are going out of town and need to pack. So I'll put on one more song for us here, and then we will close out our time together. It always goes by so fast. Okay, friends, if you can believe it, an hour has come and gone so quickly, and we are already at the end. As we close out our time together, if you would share one thing you are currently loving, we would love to hear it. I obviously am concerned about the weather, but I do have to admit that I'm really loving the sound of the falling rain outside, and hopefully it doesn't cause anything yucky, and it will just be a nice and lovely falling rain noises. And I've also loved spending all of this time with all of you today. If you feel comfortable sharing what you got accomplished today, taking pictures of your planner, we would love to see that in Sonder Club. I did mention once or twice that the personalized coaching platform is a big part of my life now, and it helps to kind of streamline my setup. If you are interested in learning more, I think Maya will be popping in some different links and things in the chat where you can learn more about that. And then I will share my playlist. So my playlist is kind of just like a big old master list. So there's like a gazillion songs and things on there. But if you ever need inspiration to build your own playlist, or if you need to listen to 22 hours of Sonder Social songs, I got you covered. So I will pop that in the chat for us here for anybody that is interested. But thank you all so much for being here today and spending this time, not just with yourself, but also with each other here in community. It's always the best part of my week. So I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a fantastic week ahead. Until next time, we'll see you in Sonder Club. Be good to each other. Bye.
Hands in the breeze, grass on my knees. Oh, what a gift, letting my body be free. I know what I need, a jump in the sea. No more regrets, I'm letting my body be free. From my birth to my grave, with every step I've taken, my body came through the joy and the pain. We dance in the river, we sing in the rain. My body, oh, through me and of me. Oh God, what an honor to see her, to know her, to love her. Roots growing in acne-prone skin. Sometimes it's hard, like in the body.